Welcome to the Academy Kids, and my name is Mr. G. And for this section here, we're going to be working on expanded form and scientific notation. So we'll be taking numbers and expressing them in expanded form using the powers of 10 and learn how to express numbers using scientific notation. So we'll do an example here just to give you a good idea of what it is that we'll be doing for this section. We have a big number like 32,965,323, and we want to expand this, okay? So 32 million, we have 30 million plus 2 million plus 900,000 plus 60,000 plus 5,000 plus 300 plus 20 plus 3. Boys and girls, this is where place value is very, very important. So you know what value each number holds in a large number like this, okay? And the place for each number in a number this big. So now we can use powers of 10. So we must write each number as a product of a whole number and a power of 10. But first we'll do this, and then we'll take it from here and turn them into powers of 10. So we have 30 million is the same as 3 times 10 million. So a product of a whole number, 3, and a power of 10, 10 million, which will turn into a power of 10 eventually. So 3 times 10 million plus 2 times 1 million plus 9 times 100,000 plus 6 times 10,000 plus 5 times 1,000 plus 3 times 100 plus 2 times 10, and then finally plus 3. So it's everything that you had on the line above when we expanded it the first time, but then we had to turn numbers like 30 million into a product of a whole number and a power of 10, and then the number 2 million into a product of a whole number, like the number 2, times 1 million, and so on. And we went down the line and did the same thing. So that's the second step. We're going to move on to the next slide here to finish this question and express it in expanded form using powers of 10. Okay, so finally we have to write each power of 10 in exponent form. So remember in the last slide there, we had 3 times 10 million. So now we take that 10 million and write it as a power of 10, which is 10 to the power of 7. So what you're going to notice when you're doing the power of 10 and writing things in the power of 10, you're going to notice a pattern. That exponent is related to, it's connected to, what you'll find is as many zeros as you have in that number is exactly the same number you have in your exponent. For example, 3 times 10 million, like we had in the last step, 10 million has 7 zeros. So when you're writing it in a power of 10, you write 10 million as 10 to the power of 7 because of 7 zeros. And then we have plus 2 times, which was 1 million. So 1 million has 6 zeros, so 2 times 10 to the power of 6, and we continue on. Just look at the number of zeros when you have numbers like 1 million, 100,000, 1,000, and the number of zeros is exactly the same as the exponent that you see here. So we keep going down, plus 6 times 10 to the 4, plus 5 times 10 to the exponent 3, plus 3 times 10 squared, plus 2 times 10 to the power of 1, which is the same as 10, and then finally plus 3. So this is what what's asked of you. If you have to write it using power of 10 in exponent form, this is how you do it. Okay? Now the second thing we're going to look at is numbers expressed in scientific notation, which are numbers you have to write them as a product of 2 factors, but you always have to follow 2 rules. When you're writing in scientific notation, one factor is a number greater than or equal to 1 and less than 10. So the first factor out of the 2 has to be between 1 and 10. No bigger than 10, so less than 10. Greater than or equal to 1 and less than 10. And the other one is a power of 10. And then you multiply them. It has to be a product of these 2 factors. Let's have a look at these examples here. 51, written in scientific notation, is 5.1 because 5.1 is greater than 1 but less than 10. It fits between 1 and 10 times 10 to the power of 1. Now it's 10 to the power of 1 because 51, in order to make it 5.1 for scientific notation, we had to move the decimal to the left one time. So when you multiply 5.1 times 10 to the power of 1, you get 51 because you move the decimal to the right one time for every 0 you have in your power of 10. Next, 510 is also 5.10 times 10 to the power of 2, because this time we had to move the decimal 2 times to give us 5.1. So from here on the right of the 0 it went 1, 2 times over, 5.10 times 10 to the power of 2. And that pattern carries on no matter how big the number gets. Let's go right to the bottom here. 510,764. We can write that in scientific notation. First, we need to make this big number a number that fits between 1 and 10. So if you look to the right, it's 5.10764, and you have to write it all out. So now 5.10764 still fits between 1 and 10. So the first rule we've satisfied. Now times a power of 10. So we had to move the decimal how many times? 5 times to make it 5.1. Okay, because originally it sat here right after the 4. We had to move it 5 times to make it 5.10764, so it's 10 to the power of 5. So now if you do the math and you multiply 5.10764 times 10 to the power of 5, which is 100,000, you will get 510,764. So once you get your scientific notation, you can do the math and you should come up with the original number that you started with. Boys and girls, this is Mr. G thanking you for joining us here with the introduction to expanded form and scientific notation. If you need to watch this again, watch it. There's important definitions in here, or move on to the next videos where we try out some of these questions and work on the expanded form and scientific notation. Mr. G signing out one more time. Thanks for stopping by, and we will see you soon.